Hey everybody, thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'll be taking a look at good old days of No Brow Press, the hardcover, fabric-bound side days of No Brow Press, and we'll be looking at Jamie Rhodes's A Castle in England. This is a really cool spot color job. I think it's a three-color job, and you see all of the cartooning that's done on the end pages is done with those three colors, and then each of the artists in the book gets two of those colors. Jamie Rhodes is not just writing these stories, but is also doing some pretty deep research here as an author. So this one castle that we're learning about in England is called Scotney Castle. There's 5 stories by 5 different artists. Each one of the stories starts with a family tree of the people that owned the castle during this era. So this is the Scotney family tree, and obviously they're the ones who built the castle. Then you also get a little bit of context here that tells you the title of the story, the author's name, the artist's name, in this case by Isaac Linkevich, and then it will also tell you when it's happening, the time period that it's happening in. So this first one is called The Laborer by Isaac Linkevich, and this is happening in 1381, and you're following the story of a laborer, a person working on the castle. You can see the castles being built there in the background, and also someone who's just working on the grounds of the owner of the castle, and then later is involved in some kind of like battle or revolt. You can see the brilliant cartooning here by Linkevich. I haven't heard of any of the artists in this book other than this book, but they're all phenomenal cartoonists. Really beautiful action in this, really loose, fluid cartooning. The spot color job in here is done impeccably well. Obviously, No Brow's known for, or at least early on, No Brow was known for like over-the-top, ridiculous, beautiful production and all that type of stuff. It looks like they really worked with the artist to make sure that the artist knew exactly what to do to make this work for printing, and it looks amazing because of it. So that's the first story in the book. The other cool thing that comes with each story is some historical context. So you can see here that there's a couple pages worth of things, and this is some factual background on the castle itself. I think this book, given how No Brow's Flying Eye Press and a lot of their other books have educational purposes, is formatted to be not just something to be read for entertainment, but I think it's something that's meant to be educational. I could see this very easily in like a junior high, high school history class or something where they're learning about castles. Obviously, the author is English, from England, British. So looking at castles of England, this would probably be more easily sold to people in classrooms in the United Kingdom, but it feels like it has that slight textbook function to it, which I really liked because it has this extra bit of informative nature to the stories. So the next story here is called The Priest. This is by the artist Briony May Smith and is set in 1590, and obviously is following the story of a priest at the castle. This one's really interesting in that the artist drew like these pencil drawings, and these are being reproduced with color, and then they're using this orange as the second color throughout. So you get some pretty interesting like textures and things going on in that story. The third story is The Smuggler by William Exley, and this is set in 1720. The cartooning in this one is really phenomenal. You can see the drawing here has like a loose dry brush quality to it that has a surface finish on top of some already phenomenal abstracted cartooning, and then just wonderful compositions like this. You can see again the spot colors that are used in this. And here's another spread from that story, because I just really love the art in this. I wish I could show even more of it, but I don't want to show off too much of what you see. If you can find yourself a copy of the book, but all of the smugglers bringing in all the loot on the ships here into the bay. That's a beautiful image. The next story is The Widow. This is by Becky Palmer, and it's set in a range of dates from 1819 to 1855, and follows a character, obviously the widow, The one thing I like about this story, I don't know if you'll see it on any of the pages I picked, it's going to be hard to see, is that the second color is used really minimally. This one is obviously someone that's working with like pencils and washes and stuff, but then the second color is used just to color these oranges. And I like that someone's treating this more like a black, white, and red type of book. And then I also just really, really like this more fantastical metaphorical image here where the guy's imagining being big enough to just come through and blow the whole house down. I really like the composition of that page there. I think it's very, very beautiful. And the final story is called The Hunter, and this is by Isabel Greenberg on art and is set in 1907 through 1923. And you can see in this one that you have a woman traveling, and she's, well, no, her husband's traveling, and he's a hunter. He's sending back all of these things that he finds that he kills. So in this scene, she's getting the alligator sent to her, and she doesn't even know what it is. But it's like, I'll put it in the bedroom. It's from Arthur. It's amazing. What is it? I don't know. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the reactions of this woman getting this back. And again, some really cool art that's making interesting use of the spot colors. So a really beautiful book, really informative, very interesting, and pretty typical of the early 2010 type of production from Nobel Press. So if you can get yourself a copy of it, I would highly recommend it. But I don't know how available these are anymore, unfortunately. Solid Yellow, Path of the Shades by Clarence Doss is a really cool ongoing project that Living the Line will be producing. Clarence is a PhD student from Fiji who's studying the myths of Fiji for his doctoral thesis. And part of that study project is that he's producing these comics. They're kind of like Hellboy, where there's these little short stories that capture all of these different mythologies. But then he's using that to wrap the project into his doctoral thesis and then provide educational material where people can come to these comics. You know, they don't have to read his PhD thesis. They can come to the comics and get a more consumable version of the mythology of Fiji.